important warning for parents tonight. Schools are seeing more students showing up with vaping devices disguised as school supplies.
The News 4i team's Jordan Elder is investigating how students are getting their hands on these devices and what officials say you should watch for.
It's a common sight this time of year. Pens and pencils, highlighters and notepads ready to be packed up and taken to school. But what if I told you not everything on this table is what it seems?
Does anything look out of the norm to you?
We put our coworkers to the test.
No. If I were to tell you that some items on this table were actually vapes and not school supplies,
No.
Are there any that you would suspect?
The pen looks too bulky.
Nope, that's really a highlighter.
I wouldn't know at all.
I want to say one of these highlighters.
Do you think you would immediately know that it wasn't a normal school supply?
Not at all. If you weren't looking for it, there's no way that you'd see that.
Pens, highlighters, hoodies with vapes in the strings. These devices are getting easier to hide, harder to spot, and they're popping up in classrooms across the country.
They're more bold. Sometimes they'll even do it in a classroom with a teacher there.
Catherine Lissy with Northside ISD says it's a constant struggle. These are just a few of the traditional vapes the NISD Police Department has taken into evidence, but others hide in plain sight.
The companies that are making vapes look a lot different. I mean, sometimes they could look like a highlighter or a coffee cup, not just traditional, what we're used to seeing.
Well, that tells me that this is a trend that's here to stay.
Dr. Lawrence Kwong is the chief of pediatric emergency medicine at Christus Children's Hospital. He calls vaping a national epidemic.
Our state governing agencies need to, come down on these companies, right? I mean, they're skirting the law, willfully skirting the law, and targeting our youth.
The federal government is taking action on this. The FDA sent this warning letter to the company that makes highlight vapes, which look almost identical to a typical highlighter. The agency writes that the product is concerning because it, quote, helps conceal the nature of the product as a tobacco product from parents, teachers, or other adults. Experts warn you to be on the lookout for these devices and talk to your kids about the risks associated with vaping. Schools are doing the same.
It has to be all hands on deck, parents, public health, and the medical community.
For the News 4i team, I'm Jordan Elder.
We reported that local school districts were worried that a new law requiring harsher punishments for vaping on school campuses would lead to harmful and unintended consequences. As News 4 San Antonio's Matt Roy reports, so far those fears haven't been realized.
This legislative session, House Bill 114 was passed, requiring any student caught vaping within 300 feet of a school campus to have a hearing and be placed into an alternative learning setting on their first strike. The law alarmed districts, thinking it would overwhelm their alternative learning campuses.
I don't think the law is going to serve the purpose it was looking for because it didn't provide additional funding for staff members nor capacity to be able to serve individuals.
But 6 weeks into the new school year, the law seems, at least for now, to be working.
What we've seen so far is an overall decrease with regards to the numbers that we've had come into our office.
At NEISD, THC vape usage has dropped about 12% year over year, and nicotine vaping usage has dropped 10%.
I think that's the best outcome we could probably expect. We really do hope that these numbers sustain.
Northside is seeing similar, albeit less dramatic, results. By the end of October last year, NISD had 475 disciplinary hearings. This year, there are nearly 300 through just October 5th.
I would say for me, it's not as much as I was concerned to have.
Northside Student Advocacy Director Catherine Lisi says numbers are lower for now.
If it keeps tracking like this, we'll be considerably higher than we were last year. But again, not as bad as I was fearful of. So.
NEISD's Tyler Shoesmith attributes the decrease to the district's educational campaign, social media, and media stories informing families of the repercussions of vaping.
I'm happy to be wrong.
Now, they're just hoping the law keeps working. Matt Roy, News 4 San Antonio.
E-cigarette use among high school kids has jumped a staggering 1,000% in just 1 year. That data from 2019 to 2020 in this Addicted Texas report. News 4 San Antonio's Amanda Henderson explains what's being done to keep e-cigs out of the hands of children.
You've probably seen this a time or two recently. Vapes are popular among adults and teenagers, despite the legal age to buy them being 21.
I've seen where they'd rather give up anything else.
B. Blackman works with Rise Inspire Academy. The high school helps support youth in drug and alcohol recovery.
A lot of the teens, they think, oh, it's just a nicotine vape, it's no big deal. But it is a big deal. Like you said, it can definitely become a felony.
In Texas, a vape pen with THC results in a felony. Blackman says it's not just high schoolers using them. Sometimes it's children in the 5th and 6th grade.
Within the first couple of weeks, they become dependent.
According to Truth Initiative, a tobacco control nonprofit, nearly 90% of kids who vape also use an e-cigarette. Sales for the latter have risen nearly 50% from January 2020 to December 2022. Cross River Therapy says about 15% of high schoolers and 4% of middle schoolers have used e-cigarettes. Abigail Moore says San Antonio is seeing similar trends.
The numbers have doubled in school districts here in Bexar County. Young people getting caught with vaping cartridges at school. If young people are vaping and are caught at school with vaping products, they are expelled and sent to alternative schools.
The San Antonio Council on Alcohol and Drug Awareness CEO says teens and children are 20% more likely to become addicted to vapes than adults. Moore says one vape pod can have as much nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
That they're getting a hold of these vaping tools, and they're vaping without their parents' knowledge.
She also says they want young people to join their coalition of education about the impact and consequences of vapes. You can find information on that and on resources on our website. Reporting in San Antonio, I'm Amanda Henderson.